All right, everyone. So you know how we always talk about those crucial pieces of information, right? Those things that kind of make everything click into place.
Yeah, the missing link.
Exactly. Well, today, I think we've got one of those pieces, a potentially huge one, actually. And it's all about these warnings that are coming out from CSIS about possible foreign interference in the upcoming April 28th election.
Big topic right now.
It is so CSIS, that's the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, just so everyone's on the same page. And they've been pretty upfront about some concerns they have.
Right. They've actually named some specific countries, which is not something you see every day, right?
Right. It's not just like vague hints this time. They're actually putting names out there.
Yeah, they're saying China, India, Russia, and Pakistan are all countries that they believe could be trying to influence things.
Okay, so that's pretty serious, right? When CSIS comes out and publicly names countries like that, it's definitely something to pay attention to. So
Yeah.
what is it exactly that has them so concerned?
Well, it's a few things, but one of the things that really stands out in all this is the role of artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow, AI.
Yeah, this is really new territory, and CSIS is saying that these countries are increasingly looking at AI as a tool to meddle in elections, and not just in Canada. This is a global thing they're talking about.
So AI in elections. So this isn't just like your old school, spreading disinformation online or hacking into voter databases. This is something different.
It's a whole other level, and it's pretty unnerving when you think about it. I mean, imagine AI creating fake news articles or videos that look so real you can't even tell they're fake, or using AI to manipulate social media on a massive scale.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it? But it's
Right.
becoming our reality, and that's what makes this so concerning.
And they're specifically saying that it's highly likely that China will try to use AI in this election in Canada.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, but it's not just China they're worried about. They've also specifically mentioned India, saying that they have both the intent and the capability to interfere as well.
So we've got multiple players here potentially, and now this whole new element of AI to worry about. It's a lot.
It is. And the thing is, it's really hard to prove a direct link between, foreign interference and the outcome of an election.
Right, it's not like they leave a calling card or anything.
Exactly. So what's the big worry then if it's so hard to actually prove?
Well, it's the impact it has on people, on their trust in the system.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you start to believe that elections are being manipulated from outside forces.
It makes you question the whole thing.
Exactly. And that's exactly what CSIS is concerned about. That even if it's hard to prove a direct link, the very fact that these attempts are being made can really erode people's trust in democracy itself.
And that's really the goal in a way, right? To sow those seeds of doubt, to make people question the legitimacy of the whole system.
That's a big part of it, for sure. And this isn't happening in a vacuum either. We have to think about the bigger picture here.
Well, exactly, because things haven't exactly been, sunshine and roses between Canada and some of these countries recently. Yeah, the timing of all of this is really interesting when you consider the state of Canada's relationships with China and India in particular.
Right, there's been some tension, shall we say.
To put it mildly, I mean, just
Yeah.
look at what happened with those Canadian citizens who were executed in China recently.
That was a huge diplomatic blow.
It was a major incident, and it definitely strained relations between the two countries.
And then you've got the situation with India as well, which hasn't been smooth sailing either.
Not at all. I mean, expelling Indian diplomats from Canada last year over those allegations related to a plot against Sikh separatists, that was a pretty significant move.
It definitely sent a message.
It did, and it shows that there are some pretty serious underlying tensions there. So when you see this warning from CSIS, it's not just coming out of nowhere. It's happening against a backdrop of already strained relations.
Okay, so the context here is pretty complex. So what about the countries themselves? What are they saying about all of this? I mean, they've been publicly named.
Well, as you might expect, both China and India have come out and denied any involvement.
Not a surprise.
Not really.
Right.
China's official statement was that they've never had any interest in interfering in Canada's internal affairs, and they're always committed to non-interference in other countries' affairs.
The classic line.
Pretty much. And India has issued similar denials in the past when these kinds of concerns have been raised.
So they're sticking to the script. But here's the thing. This isn't the first time Canada has had to deal with worries about foreign interference in its elections, right?
No, definitely not. This is an ongoing issue, and there's evidence that both China and India were involved in interference attempts during the 2019 and 2021 federal elections.
So this isn't just a one-off then?
No, it's a pattern,
Yeah.
and the methods they're using are constantly evolving, and this latest warning about AI just shows how things are escalating.
So we're looking at a potentially serious situation here.
Yeah, and it's important for people to be aware of what's going on and to understand the potential impact it can have on our democracy.
So for those listening right now, what are the key things to keep in mind as we head into this election? We have a public warning from our intelligence agency naming specific countries. We've got these existing diplomatic tensions. And we know from past reports that this isn't a new thing.
Right, and on top of all that, we have this new threat of AI being used, which is a whole other level of sophisticated
It's a
interference.
lot to process.
It is, and it's something that we all need to be thinking about because at the end of the day, it's about protecting our democracy and making sure that people have faith in the system.
Absolutely. So we're coming to the end of our deep dive here, and we've covered a lot of ground. But there's one really big question that we want to leave you with. And it's this: how do we strike that balance between being vigilant and protecting ourselves from foreign interference, while also making sure that we're not undermining public trust in the process?
That's the million-dollar question right there, because if we become so obsessed with the threat of foreign interference that we start questioning every election result, and then we're playing right into their hands.
All right, we're essentially doing their work for them.
Exactly. So it's about finding that middle ground, that balance between awareness and action without letting fear and distrust take over.
It's a tough one for sure,
Yeah.
but it's something we all need to grapple with. So as we head into this election, let's keep those questions in mind, and let's be engaged and informed citizens.
Absolutely.
And let's all do our part to protect the integrity of our democracy. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.